Okay, looks like we're live. I was like, I hit live. Welcome, everybody. Hello, and welcome to this episode of Productive Environment Podcast, organizing as stress relief. Okay, organizing as stress relief, tools for tough times, small organizing wins that lift a heavy heart. That is what Barbara and I are going to talk to you about today. So welcome to today's episode. As I said, our topic is organizing as stress relief, tools for tough times. We know that the world feels very heavy right now, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the things we can't control. Okay. But one powerful way that we can respond is by creating order in our own environment. So today we're going to talk about how organizing your time, space, and information can help you reduce stress, find calm, and cope better when life feels chaotic. I am Andrea Anderson, CEO of Productive Environment Institute, and I am here in Carolina Beach, North Carolina, and I am joined by...
I'm Barbara Hemhill, founder of Productive Environment Institute in Raleigh, North Carolina.
And we are just thrilled that you guys are here to chat with us for a little bit. We specifically, I said the world feels heavy, things feel heavy right now. There are some things going on in our country and in our world that feel very heavy. And I was thinking about it, that, sometimes some of you will be listening to this 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, maybe 5 years from now. And my guess is there will still be things going on in our lives, in our country, in the world. So in today's episode, while we acknowledge some very heavy things happening right now that are very emotional, we are not going to discuss the specifics of those events. There are multiples. There's not just one. There are multiples. But we are going to talk about how to deal with it. Like, what do we do with the heaviness? What do we do with the fear? What do we do with the emotion that comes along with life? Right? I mean, Barbara, you and I have known each other for 20 years, and we could have done this same podcast at any given point, right? There are things that, look, Jackie Orovitz is on here. Hey, Jackie. Hey, Jackie, good to see your face. Jackie is one of our longtime SOAR members, and she's out in California. So hi, Jackie. Thank you for popping in here. So if you guys are listening, wherever you're listening from, feel free to pop a message in the chat or whether you're on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn. We're streaming live in all those locations. We would eventually like you to make your way over to our YouTube channel and subscribe, like our channel and subscribe to our channel, so that you don't miss an episode. But as you know, and if you've stumbled across our channel and you've stumbled across this video, you may not know, but you will soon learn that Barbara's famous quote is, "Clutter is postponed decisions." And the Productive Environment Institute is all about being intentional about creating a productive environment where you can accomplish your work and enjoy your life, right? Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about. How do you do that when it seems like the world's on fire? And sometimes it is. So Barbara, I'm just going to go to you first as our elder in this conversation. And in fact, we haven't discussed this, but a video you just did recently, I think it really got me too, because this week has been rough. Been in prayer a lot. And then I think you talked about, are you praying or are you procrastinating? I was like, oh, Barbara, that was good. I think a little of both. And I think that's okay too. So if you want to take it from here, we'll chat.
Well, I want to just mention that I think the clutter that is the most impactful negatively on us during tough times is the clutter in our head. Mm-hmm. Certainly that's what I fight with the most. And I think our clients do too, although they're not aware of it, because it's like in Less Clutter, More Life, the premise is that physical and digital clutter are symptoms of emotional and spiritual clutter. And that's what's going on in our head.
Yeah.
And so mindset is just so critical. And the other thing is that it's really about controlling what you can so you can cope with what you can't. And recently that we've been doing all kinds of renovation in our house, and it has been, I mean, there were days, one day there were 13 people here pounding and drilling, and it was just incredible. And I found that it was critical that I look for the things that I could control, because there were so many things that I couldn't. And I think that's what's true when you think about what's going on in the world now. Spending a whole lot of time on social media looking at all the terrible things that are happening, and big part of it is you don't know what you can believe. Just because you see it there doesn't mean it's really happening.
Yeah.
And it's not really impacting you. There's not really anything you can do about it. So the question is, what can you be doing? And the question that I ask over and over and over is, what's the next action you can take? And yesterday I was working with a client who has a very successful business. And she was actually talking to someone who was going to help her business get more stars, like more Google stars, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about it, and she is in an interesting place of where her business, which happens to be a restaurant, cannot handle any more clients. They really have as many as their space will allow, and they have no intention of growing it. So the clutter for her was something that might be a good thing or might be a critical thing for somebody else, was clutter for her, because we talked about the coach that helps them get more reviews. It's like, well, we need more reviews, but not more reviews to get people to come, but rather reviews that say, if you want to go here, you need to book at least 3 months in advance. And then what she can control, and what we worked on in terms of organizing, is what is it that's going to make the customer have an extraordinary experience, because if they've waited so long to get in. So to me, and it's one of the reasons I'm in business, because clutter comes in so many ways. And that was such a new way to think about what clutter was. So one of the things we invite you to do is to say, what is the clutter in your life? What is preventing you from accomplishing your work and enjoying your life? And the bigger question is, do you even know what accomplishing your work and enjoying your life is? And unfortunately, sadly, there are so many people in this environment who are like gerbils in a cage, just trying to keep going, just treading water, just keeping ahead. And they don't even have any time to think about, wait a minute, is this really what I want in life? Is this what I want my life to be? Because I talked with a woman yesterday who's been married 49 years, and the marriage is not going well. And we ended up talking about, as long as you have breath, you literally can change things. One conversation, one question, one I'm saying I'm sorry, one question can change everything. So when you look around and see all of the things over which you have no control, ignore it, forget it. What is it that you do have control over? And as we've said many times, it may be the dishes and the dirty dishes in the sink.
Yeah. Just clearing that sink can make a huge difference in how you feel. I mean, that is a key point. Disorganization fuels stress. It fuels disorganization fuels stress, and stress fuels procrastination, and procrastination fuels more stress. So it's a loop. It's a loop that continues to happen. And sometimes, even we have to pull ourselves out of that loop. I found myself in that loop this week a lot. Just trying to stay off of media, social media. Like you said, Barbara, the things that you see are things we shouldn't see. There are things that we shouldn't see, and there are things that we don't know what's right, what's true, whatever. And it can be very, very distressing. So to pull yourself out, that would be my first step of advice is to turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
Turn it off. Turn off the news. Turn on, what happened, the big stuff. If the world's coming to an end, your friend's gonna call you and tell you. So turn it off.
One of my coaches says if there's anything important, his wife tells him what it is, but he doesn't read the news. He said, I haven't read it for years.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it's easier said than done. I mean, I'm the first one that would grab my phone and just, let me just check in real quick and see what's going on out there. And that can take you down a rabbit hole that is not good. So one of the things I have a strategy that I want to share with you that helped, because when I'm doing things, if I'm working on a project or I'm sorting, I often have YouTube on. I have, videos that I'll pull up and play. And, I may choose one that's not news related. It's maybe you guys are watching us right now. Maybe we're one of your videos. And so, but when one ends, you have to be careful because the algorithm is going to feed you the next one and you may not catch it in time. So you have to be intentional about what you watch. So one thing is you could create a playlist to make sure that you're not going to go to the next video and it be something that is distressing. So I was like, how do I get away from just having something on in the background while I'm working? And so one thing was during a particularly stressful time this week, I said, what can I do where I don't see anything or hear anything? You know what I did? I pulled up my chair and a box of paper and went and pulled up to my shredder, and I shred, because I couldn't hear anything. I couldn't hear the video. I couldn't hear TV. I couldn't have the phone in my hand while I'm sitting there. So I just shred, and it was so therapeutic.
Well, it's an interrupter. Okay. So a pattern interrupter is a very critical thing. I mean, if you're in a negative path somewhere and you need to interrupt it. So your shredding was an interrupt, and it was something that you could do. That needed to be done. And so it's a great thing.
It was incredibly therapeutic because it was methodical, and I was clearing clutter. I was clearing space. So that's something I would recommend to you guys if you want to get away from the stuff and the news and the talking and all of that. Just start shredding. That's
for me. It's music. I mean, music is something that, and if I'm out of sorts or I'm feeling stressed, if I go outdoors, especially, I don't even have to go outdoors, but if you combine being outdoors and being intentionally grateful for the trees that are overhead, or Andrea, you post all those beautiful pictures of the sunsets and sunrises there than I do of my lake sometimes. But music can just change my mindset very, very quickly. So what is it that comforts you? And the other thing I think is community. I mean, today at 5:30, I have a friend who works in an office that's very stressful. And there's a wonderful coffee place called The Ugly Mug. And we're just going up at 5:30 tonight and after work and just get together and just chat. And I think we have to make time for those things to happen because we can lift each other up. It's the production environment principle of together we are better is never been truer than now. And I'm in the process of launching a Triangle Christian Chamber of Commerce here because I've never seen business owners so excited about getting together and seeing how we can help each other and how we can help community, how we can solve problems in the community. So I'm very excited about that because I think when things get really bad, and if you think about it, during 9/11, church attendance skyrocketed. Well, they said recently church attendance has skyrocketed because we're looking for other people with whom we can share our concerns, and our prayers.
That is huge. And I'm seeing that happening all over the country this week, today. Which is incredible. So let me share a couple of comments here. Gladys says, music works for me too. Yes, good. It can change your mood in a heartbeat, right? It really can. And then I'm going to come back to Kathy in a second. Jackie says, music and or walking at the San Diego Zoo. How fun. That is awesome. For me, it's, besides shredding, getting outside and walking the beach. Like my dog's on the beach. my taking one dog at a time, so I have to go twice, which is great, is so therapeutic. And I intentionally don't listen to music when I'm doing that. I don't have headphones in or earbuds or anything. I want to hear the ocean. I don't even want to walk with anybody. That's the time I don't want. Somebody says, hey, you want to walk together? I really don't want to walk with anybody because that's my thinking, decompress, my praying. I pray, I listen to the waves, and that is kind of a special time for me. I mean, I'm very blessed I get to do that every single day. I mean, I have to because I have 2 dogs. So I kind of have to do that, which is great. Kathy says, my social media is intentionally curated to be animal videos / posts and inspirational quotes. If I don't want to see it in the future, I don't click on it. Kathy, that is so important. You're right. Those algorithms, they're like, oh, you like this? We'll send you more. We'll send you more like this. And then they also send you the opposite of whatever this is. So they the antagonism. And the other piece that comes up on social media, specifically, I'm going to talk about Facebook, is that the things that people share, like, oh, I want this video or this comment makes my point. I'm going to share it. And I'm going to convince other people to come over to my side, whatever that is, right? And there's so much of this back and forth. And really, I've never been influenced personally about who to vote for or how to feel or think by anybody else's post. I don't, so I say that to say, when I feel like, oh, I want to share this because they need to see that, they need to know the truth. It's like, you're not really helping anybody. You just feel good because you just shared something. But who you are helping, a lot of those things are clickbait. A lot of things out there are just the people that are making money are the ones who go, oh, what will people click on today? What's the outrage of the day? What is the horrific event of the day? Let me create a post about that because I'll make money when people click it and share it. And those people are benefiting while we're arguing with our friends and neighbors. Those people are benefiting. So anyway, all that to say, again, another reason just to stay out of it, stay off of it.
I have to say, I do share, because there are some times when I read things that somebody else wrote, and I think, oh, I wish I had written this. This is so powerful. But I think it's about discernment. It's about it being intentional and asking before you automatically share it, is this doing what I want it to.
Why do you want to share it? Like, is it that I mean, I'm agreeing with you about being intentional. If it touched you, it touched your heart, and you want to touch other people's hearts, and you share it for that reason, I think that's different than somebody saying, oh, they need to see this because so
that's the same. Actually, that ties in very much to I had recently someone who had hired me wanted me to work for an employee, and the employee doesn't really want me. Now, in the case of an employee, she could make that person work with me. But I said to her, it's not going to work until that person really wants it. So we're not going to convince anybody else. As it turned out, we serendipitously, a God wink, met, and he said, oh, yeah, I think I'd like to work. So it turned out okay. But, and I've often said, somebody will pick up my book. I'll be doing a speech, and at the back of the room, my books will be there, and somebody will come and say, oh, I'm buying this for my husband or my wife. I said, you can't imagine how many books I have not sold. Because when somebody says that, I'll say, I'm not selling it to you. Because not only is it not going to help the problem, it will probably make the problem worse because it's not something they really want. And so then it becomes clutter. And so I said, I don't feel comfortable selling it. So there's a lot of books I haven't sold just because I didn't want somebody to try to force somebody else to do it. People learn more by how we live our lives. So I think during these stressful times that we're in right now, one of the things that's critical is what can we do when we are in the world to be the kind of person that makes other people say, how can you be that cheerful? I'll give an example of something I just did recently. Every Saturday morning, I go to Stretch Lab. It's my Saturday morning. Love it. And Alfred loves one of the burritos that comes from the fast food place. Not healthy, but it's what he likes. So I always stop and pick it up. I used to go through the drive-through. And the last few times I've been there, I could tell that there was a lot of stress going on. I decided that I would change and I would actually go in So I park, and for the last 3 Saturday mornings, I have parked my car. I've gone in and I've said, good morning, and thank you for what you're doing and all that, because I thought that's one little thing I can do to make people feel appreciated. So there are so many little things you can do to be intentional, to make the world, to shed light. And as the world gets darker, the light gets brighter. So the thing that seems like nothing, smiling to someone, a server, and saying thank you. Like today, all the workers that are around here, I have intentionally gone to everyone. In many cases, I don't even speak their language, but I can say hello and I can say thank you, and they understand that. Thank you. This looks good. I appreciate you. I've said that dozens of times in the last 2 months since all this is going on. So don't underestimate how easily you can bring light into the dark world and de-stress somebody else. People need to feel appreciated.
That's true. That's very true. Stress and anxiety is at an all-time high. So we've got to be intentional about finding ways to decrease that. So we've got a couple of resources we can share with you. First of all, I want to share our Productive Environment Network. You can just go to productiveenvironmentnetwork.com actually and join our network. It's free. And we've got some great articles, just some really great classes, courses, things you can do there, and you can connect with people. We have someone who joined the network a couple weeks ago, and they posted a message and said, I don't have anywhere else to share this. Basically, nobody else would care, but this network of people would care. So I'm going to share that I decluttered 17 big. They posted a picture, 17 big bins of clutter.
Wow.
That's since they had joined our network and had been on our podcast and have been getting our email. So I just love that. So you don't have to buy anything even. You can just join the network for free and read some articles. Kathy Music that's on here, New Path Productivity, she writes beautiful articles that are there. You can just go in and search her name and read her articles. It's her last name is M-U-Z-I-K. Did I get that right, Kathy? I'm not looking at it. I'm like, anyway, but you can just search her name and read her articles. And another thing, another person is Karen Lynch. She's one of our specialists also. And she does something, today's Tuesday. She does something called Take 10 Tuesday. And it's 10 minutes. And she'll send out or post and send out a little thing, just like today's task, 10-minute task is to clean out your pocketbook. Go grab those receipts out of your purse and all those, I know for me, it's hair ties, things like that. So reorganize your credit cards or whatever.
It's also a place you can ask a question. If you have a question or a challenge and you post it there, somebody will answer you, and you get some great conversations going. And there are no dumb questions. If you ask the question, I guarantee you somebody else has exactly the same question.
Yep. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So with the back to the Take 10 Tuesday really quick, it could be cleaning out a drawer. These are small wins. So we said, on the subtitle, small wins that can lift a heavy heart. It could be choosing your junk drawer or a clothing drawer in your bedroom or something, just finding something. It could be decluttering your email. Like, maybe just take 30 minutes, set a timer and sit down and go through your email and delete. Just find something physical and active that you can do, that you can actively do. If you're feeling yourself becoming overwhelmed with stress and anxiety, seek out. I mean, Gladys says sometimes just a smile will light up someone's day. And that's true. I mean, you could be feeling down, but you could be lighting someone else's day up, or get yourself, even in the Productive Environment Network, watching a video where somebody else is smiling and makes you feel better. So
if you're procrastinating, I think another thing, sometimes when we're stressed, we procrastinate.
Yeah.
So if you are, this is coming from the procrastinator par excellence, who has to work with this all the time. And so one of the techniques is like, okay, what is one thing that has to happen today for me to feel happy with my progress? And then if it's something really lately, because of the renovation and stuff, there's been lots of stuff related to finances and paying bills and looking at invoices and stuff. Like, oh no, it's like this thing I don't want to do at all. But to say the question we ask, we love it all the time. What is the next action?
Yeah.
So what's the one thing that has to happen today? And what is the next action? Or this morning there's a project, a potential project that's pretty big, and I've been procrastinating about doing it. And so today I thought, okay, what's the next? It's one phone call. What happened was I made that phone call. First of all, the person answered, which I did not expect to happen. It turned out she had sprained her foot, so she was sitting in the waiting room, and it was like, she says, "Oh, Barbara, it's so good to hear from you." So we ended up having this 15-minute conversation that catapulted my project forward just because I was willing to make that one step. So the question you can ask all the time, what is my next action? And the smallest one. And often we don't do the next action because we're not sure what has to happen then. And we think we have to. You don't have to know what happens after that, because in the case of my phone call, as a result of my making the phone call, the actions I were going to take were different than what I might have put ahead of time, because she opened up some ideas for me that I didn't have before. And she was lifted up and I was lifted up, and both of us got more done.
Yeah.
So.
Well, this wasn't planned, but that's a perfect segue into another resource for you guys. We have coming up, if you're watching this in September of 2025, we have a live event coming up on September 27th. It is a live workshop called the Intentional Project Workshop, aka Project Palooza. And it is on Saturday, September 27th, 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern. And that is a time where you can come together with people, with us. Barbara will be there. I'll be there. Stephanie Richter is going to be there. She's one of our colleagues and coaches, and she's amazing. With she kind of does the mindset and really goes deep into the emotional stuff to overcome, not just talking about that it's an emotional process, but actually giving some really good strategies for overcoming the resistance to doing the project, whatever that project is. What Barbara, you talk about it in your book, Less Clutter, More Life. What stops us? What stops us from clearing the clutter? If clutter is the project, which in many cases it's a good idea for that to be the decluttering project, and you've just been putting it off and you're overwhelmed with it and you don't know where to start, come to that workshop and join us, because we're not going to get your entire project done during that workshop. But even if you just start, just coming there to get that ignition, like you're igniting.
I just thought of something that fits in perfectly with this. A long time ago, I heard somebody ask the question, what are 2 words that doubled the income of a company? Well, it's rinse and repeat for shampoo. Well, in a way, and I wrote an article about organizing your closet, and I talked about breaking it down into pieces, like doing one shelf. And I had a very, very specific way of doing it. And then I said, repeat. And so on Project Palooza, we will introduce to you a way that you can break down these big projects into smaller projects. And then once you have that system, we love system all the time, saving you space, time, energy, and money. Once you have a system that you can apply to a project, you can rinse and repeat, do it over and over.
That's right. It just come and get started. And for some of you, it may not be a clutter project, and that's okay too. It could be something else. It could be something that would make a difference in your life today, or someone else's life in the future. So be thinking about what that is. When you join, you will be invited into a private workspace in our Productive Environment Network, where we're going to actually be interacting with each other before the workshop to help. Even if you don't know what project you would do that day, come in anyway, and we'll help you decide what project to take on. But it'll be something that we can do together. It will help you overcome the procrastination that may be hindering you. So definitely do that. And then we have another resource for you. Barbara is on she participated in a summit, and it is called the Stress Control Summit. Okay. And so Barbara is a speaker along with other people. It was previously recorded, but it's going to be played out like I think it's one speaker a day, if not 2. I'm not really sure, but it's a group of people who are speakers, and Barbara is one of them, who will be speaking over the next, I think it's September 21st. Ed has the dates, I believe, September 21st through the 25th. And that is, if we don't have the link for that now, we'll make sure it's in the description on our YouTube channel. And I think the other channels as well. So you guys can register for that. It's free. It's free to join. All of the talks will be available for 24 hours. If you want to keep them longer, or you're not going to be able to listen to them all during that week, you can purchase the replays of them. That would be the only cost to you, would be, purchasing the replays. But if you'll have 24 hours to listen to, each day. So that is called the Stress Control Summit. And there are some very interesting topics there that I think you guys would enjoy. So there are several resources for you that we just gave you. So the Productive Environment Network, our Project Palooza event where we can work together, and then the Stress Control Summit. So we'll make sure you guys have the details for the Stress Control Summit as well. So with that said, that brings us to the end of our pep talk today. So whatever anxiety or stress or life stuff you're dealing with, I think, just to recap, get outside if you're able to. I mean, that just getting some fresh air and being in nature is one of the best things you can do. Shred, get some paper and shred. It's very therapeutic. Pray, you connect. What am I missing, Barbara?
Organize. That's near and dear to my heart is asking the question. This is a big life question, but it's to ask the question, what's the one thing that has to happen in your life for you to feel happy? Or if you left this earth tonight, what regret would you have? Whatever the answer to that is a form of clutter, because clutter we define as anything that prevents you from accomplishing your work and enjoy your life. And you may have heard me tell the story in the past. And in my case, it had to do with a relationship with a child. And I'm thinking, I can't do anything about it. Well, I did do something about it, and it made a huge difference. So if you think of that regret you would have, then Project Palooza might be a plan for what's the next action you could do to get over that. Because as long as you are breathing, there is always hope.
That's right. There's always a next action, and there's always hope. There is one last thing I want to say. If you are in our SOAR program, or you know about SOAR, which is Systemize and Organize with Action and Reference, one of the most valuable tools, I think, for de-stressing. You don't even have to be in our SOAR program. You can do this in a notebook, but we have something called the SOAR board that our members use to help capture everything that's going on in our lives, and then make decisions, because clutter is postponed decisions about what to do with those things. You could even just do this on a notebook. We call it, instead of a brain dump, we call it a capture quest. So this is something, if you are feeling like life is out of control and you don't know what to do or where to start, just get out a piece of paper or open up a Google Doc, whatever, and just start getting everything out of your head. I need to do this. I need to call this person. I need to make this appointment. I need to drop this off. I have an idea. I want to save this for future reference. Whatever comes to mind, just get it out of your head and onto a piece of paper or a document. Just that alone, and that there are next steps that are needed in order for those things to take place. But don't even worry about that. The first step, just get it out of your head. Get it on some paper, and you will be amazed at how good that can feel. Now, we have, like I said, other strategies for what to do next. You can pick up some of those over in the Productive Environment Network and from some of our other podcasts we've done as well. But that is a really good strategy. Get it out of your brain. Get it out of your head. Okay? Thank you guys for joining us today. This was a good topic, and it really doesn't matter when you're listening to this video in the future, because there's always things going to be going on in our lives. And when you start feeling alone and heavy and just stressed and anxious, just play this, use some of these strategies, and we hope you feel better. Okay. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.